Hey guys, this is SyedaZaidi, and today I'm going to be talking about 10.2 in pre-calculus, which is basically the topic of parabolas. So parabola is based on graphs, and they have like a graph like that's like the U kind of shape, but not really U. It's like a expanded U. It's like a hill. Let's say hill, like a really wide hill. But I'll show you how it looks like. You can search it up how it looks like, but basically, it contains all the directrix and the focus points. So it also has formulas that you will need to know in order to solve certain things like finding the focus, the directrix, all things like that. So let's start with the definition or the formulas of the parabolas that you will need to know in this topic. So there's a lot actually, but it's not that hard to comprehend. So basically, there are two axes, right? The vertical and the horizontal. And so they have, now horizontal axes have different formulas, and even with the parabolas, they have different formulas too. So it's kind of like a long thing, but it's basically just a difference between horizontal and vertical axis. So the horizontal or the vertical axis is x minus h squared equals 4p, and then parentheses y minus k, where p does not equal to 0. They both don't equal to 0, okay? And then the horizontal will be y minus k. You see how because x is vertical and y is horizontal? So that's why it just like switches like the points, like this switches like the terms in a different way. But you will see like you can kind of see like how different it is as this is like y minus h and this is h minus k. And then 4p is the same on both sides, and then y minus k is right here, and then this is x minus h. So you see it's like a crisscross kind of multiplication thing, but just replacing them, side by side. There's also another formula. This is where you find the vertical. This is where basically it has a difference too. Find the vertical axis and the horizontal axis. I'm pretty sure that finding this point, I'm not sure. It will most definitely be like finding like the focus, or not the focus, but like find like the equation, or what equation would it be when they give you like, the focus or the directrix. So these formulas are really important, and you should know them before you start solving for the question. Before you start solving questions like this, like when I show you. So y squared equals 4p, x equals to basically horizontal axis. There's no equal to, it's just like showing you that this is horizontal and this is vertical. It just stops at 4p, it just stops at x squared equals 4py or 4px. As the difference between the vertical and horizontal. Now the most important definition you will need to know in this topic is the parabola. Now what does parabola mean? Well, let's see. So parabola is a set of all points x and y in a plane that are equidistant from a fixed line called the directrix. Now the fixed line means that a fixed line, like you see how on a graph you will see a parabola, right? And that would basically be the fixed line of the and the fixed line means a directrix, okay? Now it says, now they have another term too, and a fixed point called the focus. Now the fixed point is not on the line. It's not on the graph. Like if you see the plane, right, and you see like a graph, like a U-shaped parabola, the fixed point isn't on the line. It's actually on the top, or it could be in the bottom too, or it could be sideways too. It doesn't really matter. So remember that a focus fixed point is not on the line of the graph. It's not like on the parabola. It's like either up or down, left or right. It depends on what kind of question you get. So let me try making like a drawing figure, a figure of how it looks like what I mean by focus. So for example, this is a parabola and this is the fixed point right here. So on this graph, I showed you that this is the parabola, right? The U-shape is a parabola, and the fixed point would be the one that's up or down. It could be like any way. Depends on what question you get again. But the fixed point will be over here. Now the directrix will be on the fixed line, which will be over here. So the directrix of the U-shape right here. But this is all you need to know about the topic for 10.2, which is parabolas. And let's get started with the problems. Okay, so this is the first problem in this topic, and in this problem it just says focus 0 and -2. Now this one is basically implying to find what the vertical axis would be in the x squared equals to -4pxy formula. So now the focus, just to find the focus and like, you know, all of those kind of topics is basically the formula of like x squared equals to 4py. Other things like, you know, like the x minus h and stuff, that was mostly finding for like the vertex and focuses. Like it will give you, it will give you like a vertex and a point, and then you have to substitute in order to find like basically like the formula or the equation of the graph sometimes. But in this case, in this problem right now, we're only going to find what the vertical axis would be in this only by finding the focus, only by substituting the focus or trying to find it from the focus point. Now focus means the fixed point line, right? I mean, sorry, it's a fixed point, but it's not on the line. It's just on the top, or you know, wherever it is located in. But it's not on the line. Just know that. So now the important thing to do from finding the x term, or sorry, the vertical axis, is putting the formula first in order to like imagine how are you gonna substitute it. So the formula for the vertical axis is x squared equals to 4py. Now imagine, so focus, now you see how this is, you know how every point it's always x first and y is the last, right? Now if you think about it, you see y is -2 right here and x is 0. So that means that we're basically trying to find what the vertical axis is by substituting y for -2. So if it was the opposite, if it was -2, 0, it would be xy. That means we're going to have to find the horizontal axis in order to by substituting x into the equation. But in this case right now, we're just finding the y, or we're just finding the vertical axis for now. So it's just like an inverse, you know, like opposite. It's just the opposite way of how to do it, of how to find the horizontal one. Okay, so let's try substituting. So x squared equals to 4. Now the point is always by substituting -2 and then y. So 4 -2 times by y equals to, well, -4 times -2 is -8, and then y beside it, and basically this is what it equals. So basically vertical axis is equal to -8 and y. And okay, so basically this is how you solve for number 1, and let's get into the next question. Okay, so this is the second problem, and this problem actually involves the directrix now instead of the focus, and it also involves the vertex too. So a little complicated, but not that complicated when you understand what it means. Now remember that directrix is the fixed point of the line, right? I mean, sorry, it's the fixed line of the graph. So, and the vertex is just the vertex, which is basically the vertex. You will know what I'm pretty sure you know what a vertex means in the graph, or on a graph. So basically the vertex is, well, it's mostly like h and k. So h equals to 0 and k equals to 0 also, because they're both 0, right? So it's like a substitution of h and k for 0 and 0, and equals h equals 0 and k equals 0, as a summarization of what I just did. So in order to find the vertical, or actually, let's see, hold on, let me see what we have here first. So in this problem, you see that x is equal to 6. You know that x is equal to 6. That means we're gonna have to try finding the horizontal axis, since they already found the vertical axis. Now we have to find the horizontal axis. So that means that we're gonna have to use the formula of y squared equals to 4px. Okay. Now remember last time in the first question we talked about how we're gonna try finding the vertical axis, because horizontal axis was already taken. They already solved for h. which is horizontal axis. Then we have to find the vertical axis. So this is like the opposite, but this time we're trying to find this time it actually involved the directors instead of focus. So let's try solving it. So P. Now the thing I do is I try finding the P first. So now let's think about this real quick. So since it's 6 and it's positive 6, h minus 6 would basically equal to negative 6, right? Because you see h is x, right? 0. It's 0, right? So 0 minus 6 will equal to... I'm so sorry. So basically h minus 6 would be equal to negative 6. So that means that we're going to substitute negative 6 into the equation. So it'd be y squared equals to 4 negative 6x, because we're trying to find the vertical axis. Let me just write this vertical axis. So now then y squared again would equal to 4 times negative 6 is negative 24. So it's negative 24x. Now this is the vertical axis in the point form of directrix. So that means that this is the horizontal axis of the directrix. So y equals to negative 24 and x was originally equal to 6. So this 6 was positive for the vertical axis and horizontal axis was 24. And this is how you solve for number 2. Okay, so this is the third problem in this topic, and this question is it gave us vertex and focus. Now, this one is actually the formula that we talked about previously. It was like the x minus h squared, like x minus h squared equals to 4p, and then y minus k. Basically that kind of formula. But in this case, we're gonna use so since I already have -1, 0 and stuff, right? We have to find the y part. So let's see what we can do. So we're gonna use the formula of let's use it as the vertical axis, okay? So let's use the vertical axis formula. And so if we're gonna find vertical axis, that means we're gonna have to find the y part. That's why we're using the vertical axis, because they already have the vertical part, right? So we have to find it by solving for the y. And so let's try solving it first, okay? Okay, so the vertical axis formula for this kind of equation would be x minus h squared equals to 4p, and then y minus k. Now this formula is really important in this problem because you're gonna have to substitute it and try finding the y part of the focus. So the vertex is -1 and 2, and the focus is -1 and 0. So let's see, the vertex we have right here is h and k, right? So h and k and -1 and 2, we know that h is equal to -1 and k is equal to 2, okay? And the focus part, the focus would be basically equal to, I'm so sorry, I am messing everything up right now. Now the focus we have is -1 and 0. Now if you think about it, on the vertex part, we have that is 2 as the y, right? So here we don't have y at all. So that means that 0 minus 2, or let's say k minus 2, would equal to -2. That means the focus would be, or actually, let me make it easier for you. Basically, p equals to -2. So what I did is that I basically did k minus 2 and is equal to -2, because y is equal to 2 in vertex, but 0 is here. So basically 0, it could be 0 minus 2 or whatever you think that's more comfortable for you. And basically the p point is equal to -2, okay? So we found -2 here, right? And now we just have to substitute it in the formula. So we have all our characteristics. Now we just have to substitute it in the formula, okay? So we have, x minus h, right? So x, now h, remember, h is 1. It's -1 right here, right? But in this case, it's going to be +1 since it's already negative. So it's going to be basically like this. It's already plus, right? And then equal to, 4 is always 4. P is -2. Remember, we found P, which is -2. -2, and then y minus 2, because k here is 2 in this vertex formula. Because k, I remember k was equal to 2 right here. So minus 2. Now when you simplify it, you will get approximately x plus 1. Oh, sorry, I forgot to put the squared root right here. But x plus 1 squared equals to, well, negative 4 times -2 is -8, right? So -8, and then we have y minus 2, so it'll be y minus 2, and that's all. So this is how you find the equation or the formula for this problem. And yeah, this is how you solve it for this question.